It's so fucking hot, y'all, but we're gonna get this done. Hello and welcome to episode, I'm not gonna do this the whole time. Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Little Dynamite Knits podcast. My name is Sarah and I live in Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia with my husband Brent and our three cats, Gustav, Gracie, and Gertie. And this is week 2 of Knit Girl Summer, and boy did the summer weather show up this week. I think it's like 100 degrees today here in Pennsylvania. It's probably hotter other places, but it's miserable. And our air conditioning it's doing its best, just like we all are. So we have a 3-story house. And so it's not like a basement. The first floor is like walk-in level. And so our bedroom is up on the 3rd floor. And the thermostat is on the 2nd floor. So what that usually means is the 2nd floor is pretty ideal temperature. The 1st floor is usually pretty chilly. And the 3rd floor is the warmest. Today, though, it's even warm. Not warm, but it's not super, super comfortable on the 1st floor. The cleaners are also here. And it sounds like they're vacuuming the 2nd floor. So hopefully you can't hear that. Because again, it's hot and we're just trying to get this in before I go sit in front of a fan for the rest of the day. Anyway, today we're going to do project updates, and then we're going to talk about my plans for my first ever Tour de Fleece. I'm like so excited that I'm clapping. I'm really excited to be a spinner this year and get to actually participate in Tour de Fleece. So we will get to that, but we're just going to jump right into projects because I don't have a lot of life updates because I just did this a week ago. Is this what it feels like for y'all who do this every week? It's kind of nice. We're going to try and keep this episode. The goal is shorter than last week. I would love to keep it around the 30-minute mark, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So, all right. Real quick, I did want to just share. So last week I shared the jaunty that I finished for Brent. It is upstairs blocking and it looks so good. I will put a picture here. It's blocking along with my half pint scarf, which I finished a while ago, but I'm very bad about blocking things in a timely manner. So they're both upstairs blocking, baking in the heat of our guest room where the sun like pours in, where we don't have blackout shades. Sorry if you're one of our guests. Maybe we should do something about that. But so they're almost dry. I just put them on the blocking mats last night, and the jaunty is like dry already. The half pint is a thicker yarn, so it's taking a little bit longer. All right, so I have no FOs this week because I just did this a week ago. But I have made a lot of progress on my summer session tank. So now, as long as that looks, I'm still not ready to do the ribbing at the bottom. I think I need to do another 2 repeats of the lace chart pattern, which is 16 rows. So hopefully by then I'll be in a good place to do the ribbing, because this is all the yarn I have left, which is a decent amount because, you know, this is fingering weight yarn, but this is it. So once this is gone, or once this gets to a point where I think I have enough for an inch of ribbing and a tubular bind off, then it is what it is. This is Forest Floor. That's the colorway on Explorer Knits and Fibers linen sock base, which is 80% merino, non-superwash merino. Oh, so this isn't going to stretch as much. Almost said that bad word again. It'll be fine. 80% non-superwash merino and 20% nylon. I am in love with this. I just think this is going to be so beautiful once it's all done. So this should absolutely be finished. Maybe not blocked, but finished by the next time I record. Okay, oh my goodness. There we go. All right, and then I shared a new cast on last week for a shawl. It's called the Shifa shawl. It's spelled Shifa. It's by Zanette Knits. And I am using this beautiful yarn from Tess's Designer Yarns. This is a blend of baby alpaca and silk, I believe. Yes, 70% alpaca and 30% silk. This is a 150 gram cake of yarn, and it is 410 yards. So Ravelry says it's a worsted weight. This pattern says you should pick a needle size that is 2 sizes bigger than what the yarn recommends. So I started with an 8. Again, Ravelry says this yarn wants anywhere from a US 5 to an 8. Tried an 8. I shared it last week. It just was too sloppy. I was going to go down to a 7, but because I'm a loose knitter, I decided to go down to a 6. And I'm so glad I did. So I have now completed the setup rows, and I think 4 repeats of the lace chart. This pattern does not have written directions. The entire thing is done with a chart. And so that took some getting used to, but now it's I'm kind of just moving along. It's a little bunched up on these needles, so I don't think you're quite getting the full effect, but I think this is going to be a beautiful shawl that I can wear like with a dress, maybe, when I just need something around my shoulders. So it is so soft, and it's enjoyable to work on. So I'm very glad that I cast that on. All right, and then I swatched for a project. Since I am nearing the end of my summer session, I want to get another garment on the needles. So I swatched for Tori Yu's Prospect Tee, and I am going to be using Barocco Remix Light for this. This is the color Buttercup, and if you're not familiar with this base, it is a mix. It is 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, and 9% linen. Best part, care instructions, machine wash in cold water on delicate cycle, which is how I wash all my clothes. So it is a fingering weight. There are 432 yards in each of these. I have 4 of these, so I have over 1,600, maybe over 1,700 yards. So I swatched. Here's my swatch. It is not dry yet, but I did using the size recommended in the pattern. So the pattern calls for a US 4, so that's what I use for my swatch. I ended up with 22 stitches and 39 rows. The pattern gauge is 24 stitches and 38 rows. That is the closest I have ever come to row gauge. I could probably have blocked this a little bit more aggressively and gotten to the 24 inches, but I like how this looks. So I am looser than the pattern gauge, which made me think instead of doing the biggest size, the 66 inch, I would do the 62 inch. However, to get the ease I want, I think I'm still going to do the 66 inch. That's the plan right now, because I don't want to go down to a US 3. I do so many fingering weight garments because it's what my body prefers to wear, but they take forever. And the thought of going smaller than the US 4 just makes my heart hurt a little bit. So I think I'm going to stick with the 4 and stick with the largest size, and go to the upper range of the ease. I think Tori recommends 4 to 6 inches, so I would be on the higher end of that range. That is all the knitting I've done. I have not worked on any other knitting projects, and that's probably because I've done a lot of spinning, but I also have been playing with my new sewing machine. Yes, I got a sewing machine. I got a sewing machine because I want to make pants. I want to make clothes that fit me. And I had this revelation a week or two ago. It was not nearly as hot as it is today, but I was going somewhere and I was wearing jeans because I don't have many shorts and I have like no linen pants. So naturally, my brain said, why buy them when you can make them? Even though you've never touched a sewing machine since you were in 7th grade and sewed a giant purple pillow with a big white S on it. So I got a sewing machine from Amazon during the Prime Day deals. We are working on weaning ourselves off of Amazon. We're not there yet. And I, having just lost my job, need to be careful with my money. And Brent actually went in half and half with me for the sewing machine because I was saying I was going to get a different one. And I was like, let me get the cheaper one. And he said, no, get one that's going to be better. I don't know a lot, but this one is definitely more heavy duty. It's not all plastic like some of the other ones. It comes with a carrying case. It comes with a ton of accessories. Most of which I have no idea what they do yet, but I'll show you what I've done so far. I've been practicing on these paper sheets, and you can't really see on the front because I was trying to, stick as close to the lines as possible, which, other than that one right there, I did a pretty good job on. But if you look on the back, not as good. However, I will say, let's see, these were the last 2 lines I did on this sheet. So they definitely look better. They also were done using the start-stop button on the sewing machine instead of the foot pedal. So it was actually one consistent speed the whole time because I could not get my foot to, just like when I'm driving, I can't, without cruise control, there's fluctuation. So those were done with the start-stop button. And then I learned about how to do the, go forward a few stitches, then reverse to like lock the end in, and then go forward. And so this was practicing again with the start stop button. Obviously not totally straight, but not horrible. Then I decided I'm gonna try a circle, which did not go so well. So this is the back of it. So yeah, not quite ready for that. And then I was doing all this with a tutorial video on setting up your machine and getting to know some of the features of it. So then I just was practicing decorative stitches. And I did my name with some hearts. I didn't do anything. The machine did that. So I have all these other sheets printed. However, someone sent me a suggestion, I think through Instagram, that to practice on actual fabric. And she specifically recommended getting some charm packs, which are those pre-cut squares of fabric, and they're like in coordinating colors and designs. They come in packs of, is it 42? Something like that. And practice seaming those together. And so I think I'm gonna that sounds like a great idea. So I think I'm gonna do that, get a couple charm packs, and then go from there. So far I've set up the machine and I've practiced straight lines. So we're doing great. It's fun. It's like thrilling. It's like every time like something works, the machine has an automatic thread cutter when you're done. It's like magic. It's so fun. And I got I should probably say what I got. I got the Singer Quantum 9960. If that's wrong, I'll put the correct name on the screen. So more sewing updates maybe later this summer, but now we're going to talk about spinning. So since I last recorded, I think I had one of these done, but now I have both bobbins of my Junction Fiber Mill spin. So this is, I got 2 4-ounce bundles of pin drafted roving from Junction Fiber Mill at the Fiber Festival of New England, and spun each of them on 2 separate bobbins. And now I'm going to apply them together for a 2-ply. For this, I was trying to spin a little bit thicker than I normally do. Apparently I spin very thin. It's just, I don't know what I kind of fell into naturally. And this, because it was already so pre-drafted, was just like almost drafting itself. So more fiber was kind of coming out. So I decided to use that as an excuse to try to spin a little bit thicker. I'm not sure if I succeeded, but hopefully this is closer to a sport or maybe even a light DK weight. We shall see. I just finished spinning the second bobbin yesterday. So I want it to rest at least one more day before I ply these. So that takes me into Tour de Fleece. I originally wanted these 2 to be done before Tour de Fleece started, but that didn't happen, and that's okay. So these are going to be, plying these together will be my first official project in Tour de Fleece. Will I do that tomorrow? Is that enough? Yeah, I'll probably start plying them together tomorrow. Now, for the rest of Tour de Fleece, I have some goals. However, there is one little glitch. Brent and I are going on a road trip starting on Wednesday of this coming week. Today, I'm recording this on Friday, July 3rd. So we're going away next week. And it's a road trip, so we're not flying anywhere. And so I thought about taking my e-spinner with me. I have a Dreaming Robots electric eel 6-point, whatever the most recent one is. So I actually ordered a battery pack for it, and I tried it out yesterday, and it works great. And I bought I think it's technically a toiletry case, thinking I could fit the wheel in there along with some extra bobbins and some fiber. But it was a little too small. It fit, but it was very tight, and shoving everything in there and then getting it out and putting it back made me start to think, am I actually going to spin while we're away? And not even just am I going to, but do I want to? So I'm not going to spin in the car. That's going to be knitting if I can. Sometimes knitting makes me car sick though, which sucks. But I'll knit if I can. And so that means spinning in the hotel. Am I really going to want to? Because we're bouncing around hotels. Like the longest we're staying at any hotel is 2 nights, and that's only one of them. So am I really going to want to unpack this thing just so I can spin for 15 minutes and then pack it all back up and on to the next? I think the answer is no. I just feel like I'm going to bring it, and then I'm not going to use it. And then I'm going to feel guilty for not using it. And who needs that on vacation? Not me. So I think there will be 5 days, 6 days where I don't spin at all during Tour de Fleece. And it is what it is. And it's fine. So on the days where I am home and participating, my first goal is I want to spin some sock yarn. So I have this bundle. It's called a Scrappy Sock Bundle from Wound Up Fiber Arts. And it says Super Sock Custom Blend, 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon, 10 plus different colorways, making every skein unique. So I think what I'm going to do is some of them are more yellows, oranges, greens. Some of them are more, well, actually, it looks like I already did this. So the top of the bag is more like yellows, oranges, greens. The bottom is more like pinks, purples, blues. So I think I'm going to do one bobbin each and then make a 2-ply sock yarn, because my favorite sock yarn is the 80-20 2-ply sock yarn that so many of the indie dyers use. That's my favorite. So yeah, so this is my first goal, is to knit a skein, or spin a skein of sock yarn. So my second goal is, I think this colorway was the Tour de Fleece colorway from last year from Yarn Jam. This is called Fleece Force. I'm obsessed with these colors. I actually already opened one of them because I was thinking about how I wanted to prep this. And it is just beautiful. So I have 2 braids of this. This was originally going to be, I was leaning heavily toward this being the contrast color for my Cygnus shawl, but then Shop La Mercerie shared, they have a fiber subscription, and the most recent month was Kira Wiggins, and the braids she did for them are gorgeous. And with the main color I bought, I think it's going to be like the most gorgeous kind of stained glassy kind of look Cygnus shawl. So I'll put a picture here of what I ordered along with the main color that I already have. So assuming that arrives in the middle of Tour de Fleece, that will then be goal number 3. So goal 1, sock yarn. Goal 2, the Fleece Force colorway from last year. Goal 3, if it arrives in time, the Kira Wiggins. And then, if there's time left, maybe I'll do this year's Tour de Fleece colorway from Yarn Jam, which is called Just Breathe. I haven't decided if I'm going to do this by itself or if I'm going to pair it with this braid from Witchfire Fibers, the colorway Sunnies and Floats. This is definitely more muted, but I don't know. Are they too similar, or do we think that this would be really fun together? I also pulled out these 2 braids, also from Yarn Jam, but this is from the Podcaster 2.0 collection. This is Mia of Knit and Grace's colorway, Graceful Blooms. This is Emily of the Botanical Knitters colorway, Winter Pines. These are both on the Heather Gray Shanico base, and I want to do a combo spin with these. So I have that as well. So, and then I have more fiber over there. So I have options. But I definitely want to do the sock yarn. I definitely want to do the Kira Wiggins. Maybe I should make that goal too. Like if that arrives before we go on vacation, or even while we're on vacation, because we have a house sitter, a cat sitter really. Maybe I can start that when we get back. Anyway, I say goals, but you know, we're not trying to compete with anybody, especially ourselves. So I'm just going to spin what feels good and have a general idea of what I want to do. Oh, the vacuum is closer now. All right. I think I'm going to do this in 30 minutes. Let's see. Knitting, spinning, sewing. Yeah, I think we did it. I think that's it. I feel like, was this chaotic? Was this like rushed? I don't know. But that's all I have to talk about, which is, that's a benefit of recording every week. Much shorter episodes. So I'm not going to ramble. Let's wrap this up. Hopefully wherever you are in the world, if it's as hot as it is here, I hope that you're able to get somewhere cool. Please take care of yourselves and take care of each other. If you're watching the World Cup, how fun has that been? The other day, what matches? England, and I'm not even going to remember. I watched 3 in one day the other day, and they were all amazing. They were like so incredible. Congo, was England and Congo? I don't know. I already forget who was playing, but they were all fantastic. So if you're also watching the World Cup, who are you rooting for? Obviously, you know, here we're rooting for the USA men, but I heard someone say like you always have another team. It's like Team USA and I think my other team is Norway. I think. Other than that, just lots of baseball and trying to stay cool. And that's it here. So thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. If you enjoyed the video and you want to give it a like, that would be awesome. If you subscribe already, thank you so much for coming back. If you don't subscribe yet, but you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button and sticking around for this. So next week, Knit Girl Summer, we'll be away. So there's probably going to be a 2-week break between episodes, but the following week I will be back and can't wait to catch up with all of y'all. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know where you're watching from, what's going on in your corner of the world. And until next time, I'll see ya. Bye.